Yes, so what I was saying, hopefully, I mean, that Pastor Hugh would be Bible responsible and base his decisions on Bible principles, and that would help our situation out, like I said. But however, because of the very difficult situation, and because of the mind control upon Pastor Hugh from Pierre, if Pastor Hugh, I mean, and the influence of the church also upon him, if Pastor Hugh refuses to respect Bible principles and continue in the gross corruption that he's involved with right now, I'm planning to mail these booklets in sealed envelopes and stamps in to different people within the Margaree Valley area and the Margaree Center. I'm going to take a telephone book and take the names in the phone book and mail this to the general public in the Margaree Valley and Margaree Center. And as you've seen earlier, it tells my website on the internet, which explains this information, to educate the people on what's going on. Now, I don't want to be mean. I'm not doing this to be mean. I'm doing this to educate the people that there is something not correct with the manner that Pastor Hugh is doing things. And hopefully, and I'm also asking on this website, I'm publicly asking to you viewers that if someone would have the willingness and the courage to speak to Pastor Hugh, to tell him that, it's not proper the way he's responding about our marriage. Like, I'm asking him now, if as a pastor, if he would please help this situation and phone me on the phone to offer some type of help. And that way it negates, or it removes the need for this matter to go more public. So I'll continue on with my reading now, and I've put here very irresponsible, and this refers to a Mr. Pastor Hugh Morrison. Back in the spring of 2015, I had called Pastor Hugh to ask him for help to restore our marriage. He was somewhat puzzled on the phone, of how to respond. I said, I can call you later to check. Several days later, I called Pastor Hugh again. This time, he flatly refused to help and was giving me cheap excuses why not to help. Shortly before having these two talks with Pastor Hugh, I had talked to Pierre Chiasson on the phone for over an hour, asking him to help restore our marriage. As honorous pastor and making claims in public that he believed in the Bible, I assumed that this is Pierre, would be a qualified person to help to restore our marriage. I was sadly mistaken. Pierre had also flatly refused to help and was giving me these cheap excuses why not to help. Pastor Hugh's excuses on the phone why not to help were the identical same ones that Pierre had given me. It was similar to listening to an audio cassette. Pastor Hugh, as an ordained pastor of Margaree Valley Baptist Church, had willingly made the decision to blatantly disregard Bible principles on marriage in our situation and regard Pierre's personal opinions opposed to our marriage as his priority in this matter. This is what Matthew 19:6 teaches us, for they are no more two, but one flesh. What God has therefore joined together, let not man put asunder. In the reference to man in this verse, would this not also apply to Pastor Hugh? Question mark. I believe so. Yet he willingly made the decision to disregard this verse and the other verses. But this is rather surprising, and this is surprising and corrupt. I mean, imagine this point. Pastor Hugh Morrison, as a pastor, willingly, blatantly disregarding Bible principles on our marriage and putting in priority Pierre's personal views against the marriage. I mean, and we understand, the reason again. Pierre is directly against our marriage, so he can honor us continued strong support of his cult group, his social club cult group that he has. Pierre wants to honor us support, so he will refuse to help. If you, dear readers, would like a free copy of my DVD entitled Pastor Hugh Morrison and Margaree Valley Baptist Church Corruption, you may write to me. That's at my Shedicamp address here. It's Kenneth Comeau, P.O. Box 1261, Shedicamp, Nova Scotia, BOE 1HO. This is if you'd like your own personal copy of this video here that's showing now. May you, of whom personally support Margaree Valley Baptist Church, take a responsible stand on this situation before God and to respect His Bible principles before your families in respect of what is correct and responsible, and yourselves, your own conscience before God, to abstain associating with Margaree Valley Baptist Church until this matter is resolved. May you be blessed and rewarded of God, yourselves and your families, according to the degree that you respect Bible principles and have a desire to help others in difficulty. What I'm saying there, as what I read, I believe that you, the supporters of Margaree Valley Baptist Church, the congregation, also have responsibility in this situation. I believe that some of you should be more responsible to speak to Pastor Hugh, to remind him to base his decisions more on Bible principles on marriage. I believe it would be proper and responsible of you, the congregation of Margaree Valley Baptist Church, to either help Pastor Hugh to be more, like I said, Bible responsible. And if he declines, I believe it would be worthwhile for you to abstain or to stop supporting Margaree Valley Baptist Church until this matter is resolved. I think that would be good on your part, to stop going and supporting Margaree Valley Baptist Church until this matter is resolved. So the last page on the booklet here, it says, the blind, leaders of the blind. Leading the blind. Matthew 15:14. Let them, Margaree Baptists alone, they, Baptists, be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind, Pierre and Pastor Hugh, lead the blind, that's the Margaree Valley Baptist Church, both will go into the ditch of corruption and public exposure. That comes from that verse, Matthew 15, verse 14. Pastor Hugh Morrison has willingly decided, I've already said that, disregarded our marriage in order to support Pierre. I've already said that. There is much evidence that in the manner that Pierre Chesson operates his church group in the Shedigamp area, of the manner that his supporters idolize him with his guitar and song, and put his personal views above Bible principles, strong evidence of cult activity. By Pastor Hugh being so closely associated with Pierre and following his private instructions in priority above Bible principles, is also evidence of cult activity at Margaree Valley Baptist Church. To the public, be careful, pay more attention to what they actually doing than just the sweet things that they are saying with their mouths. So I believe this is what I just said there. I do believe that Pierre is operating a cult in the Shedigamp area, the way he's done things, like I've mentioned. And by Pastor Hugh being so closely associated with Pierre and following his personal instructions to the degree that he is, I think, and then he influences the church with that after. So by Pastor Hugh and the church being so closely associated with Pierre and Pierre's cult group in the Shedigamp area, I believe it's causing cult activity in the Baptist church in Margaree Valley. I believe there's evidence of that. I mean, and if you people, once you read my material, and I maybe for yourselves, you may detect cult activity in the Baptist church in Margaree Valley.